This is going to be long and thoroughly infuriating, but please bear with me. I am a 22-year-old woman and I still stay with my mother. However, this is not because I want to. I would much rather stay alone and have lesser responsibilities. It's because my mother needs me around. My mother works a minimum wage job, and the money she makes is not enough to cover rent and utilities. She doesn't want to change the house we live in because she is emotionally attached to the place, and her workplace is walking distance from the house. Added to this rather unfortunate bunch of incidents and facts is another fundamental piece of information, which is that my mother is also a cheating piece of crap who broke my father's heart a couple of years ago. She was involved with the man who is now my stepfather, Justin. I hate the guy and I make sure to make that obvious. This happened 3 years ago when I had already started my cosmetology course, which was close to my house. It was hell in the house for a couple of months. Mom and Dad used to fight every single day once Dad found out. But to his credit, he really wanted to give their marriage another shot. Mom, on the other hand, was a whole different piece of work altogether. She wanted to divorce Dad, and that too immediately. She had hoped that she would be getting a hefty sum as alimony, as Dad was the one who earned more, significantly, and paid all the bills. The divorce took a year to be finalized, and 2 years ago Mom got married to Justin, and he moved in with us. He also brought along with him his stepdaughter, Carly. Dad moved states after the divorce, and even though I'm closer to him emotionally and took his side all through the divorce, it was more prudent for me to stay back in the same city because I couldn't leave the program I was enrolled in. Earlier, Dad used to be the one who paid for everything, rent and utilities, and honestly, we had a very good life. Mom didn't really get a lot of money in the settlement, and she tried really hard to milk Dad dry. But Dad's lawyer was out for blood, and Mom was left with close to nothing, and I'm glad of that. That being said, it was kind of difficult for us for a while. Karma got to Mom, but because I live with her and can't just get up and leave, it got to me a little bit too. Justin himself doesn't earn a lot, at least not as much as my dad, and on top of that, he has spoiled Carly rotten. From what I've heard, although I have never gotten confirmation for the same, Carly knew of the affair between Justin and Mom for a long time. Justin was married to Carly's mom during the affair. But Carly never uttered a word to her mother. She had a deal with Justin where he used to buy her whatever she wanted in order to buy her silence, and she kind of rolled with it. So it was a couple of years of whatever the hell she wanted. Spa days, pedicures, exorbitant gifts and whatnot. I really don't know where her moral compass was during this entire ordeal, but to be honest, one can't really blame her. She was just a kid who probably did not know what the right thing to do was in such a delicate situation. And given that her father was a cheating, lying, bribing son of a bitch, she didn't really have someone to lead by good example. So yeah, now all of us live together. My mother, who is a broke but entitled cheater, Justin, who's an a-hole, Carly, who's a brat, and me, who's, well, just stuck. As is clearly visible, the family dynamic in my house is really weird and messed up. I stay there because Mom needs help. I don't like what she did to Dad, and somewhere deep down I know she deserves this hardship. But at the end of the day, she's my mother. I can't see her suffer this way. Plus, she's very good with words and emotional manipulation, and she manipulated me into staying back and looking for a job here after my course. I'm a nail tech by profession, and I earn good money, so I am required to pay rent, pay for utilities, drive Mom to work and back, and all this while I pay for gas. There are times when even Justin and Carly take my car. I am somehow never allowed to touch theirs. Whenever I do try, citing unfairness, they start screaming like babies, saying that their car isn't insured and they can't give it to me, blah blah. Moreover, I haven't really caught them using my car. Just sometimes I see that my gas is lower than what it should be, but if I ask them, they obviously feign ignorance. It's pretty idiotic, the way things are, but I have gotten used to it, so I don't really say much. I also do chores around the house. Not all of them, but quite a few. Justin doesn't even pick up his sock because, he's a man and it's not his job to look after the house. Carly is too much of a brat to do anything. She's also dumb, so she doesn't even know what to do. It's quite pathetic because we can't trust her with simple tasks. She will either straight up say that she doesn't know how to do them, or she will do it so poorly that we will have to do it all again anyway. In short, me staying in the house has more benefits for all the other members than it does to me. There have been multiple times when I have tried to move out. I've broached the topic quietly in fights and discussions, but my mother just starts being melodramatic as hell. And God, she just manages to wear me down, no matter what I say or do. So it's a clear no-go for me, and I'm stuck here. I have tried to make the best of the situation. I still don't see eye to eye with Justin, but because of that, Carly doesn't particularly like me, which is understandable, but she is a catty bitch, even otherwise, so screw her and her entitled ass. And because I wanted to ease things a bit with my mother, especially now because Dad is about to get married to this wonderful woman, Estella, I think I can allow myself to forgive Mom. This was why I planned the trip for both of us. I had some savings and I paid for everything, travel, lodging, everything. It was neither very extravagant nor very long, just a 3-day thing for Mom and me. I was looking forward to the trip, and from what I knew, so was Mom. Also, I had made it explicitly clear that this was something that was going to be between me and her, special for the two of us. Justin and Carly knew of the plan, and they had been told beforehand that they would have to look after themselves for 3 days while Mom and I took the trip. Carly made a face because she wanted to be included in the girls' trip, but I was adamant that this one would be only Mom and me. She huffed around for a couple of days. You see, the princess wasn't used to hearing no because her dear daddy gave her everything that she ever asked for. But I wasn't Daddy, and I had a much shorter temper with her as it is. So she didn't try to act smart with me. She was all mopey for a couple of days, but I didn't pay it much heed like I usually don't. And then she was fine. She probably realized that her tantrums were not going to work this time around, and little did I know that she was planning something much worse and sinister than what I could have anticipated. And all of this was happening behind my back with Mom, Justin, and Carly in cahoots. A day before the trip was supposed to happen and I had packed my bags, my mom called me to her room and said that she had a surprise for me. I can assume all of you can figure out where this is going. She said that she had decided that Carly was going to come with us and that the 3 of us would have a fun girls' trip. I looked at her as though she had pissed on my face. I didn't even try to hide my disgust and anger, and I knew fully well that Carly and Justin were in the same room and could look at me. But at that point in time, I really didn't care about any of that. I was furious for being blindsided, but I still had hope. I told her that I had only made the bookings for 2 people and that I didn't have the money to make them for Carly. That's when Justin chimed in and said that he had made all the bookings for Carly and that I didn't have to worry about that. I was furious. I told them that I had been very clear from the start that this was supposed to be a trip for Mom and me, nobody else. I told them that I was not going to go on the trip if Carly came. Mom called me a brat. And I said, so be it. I didn't care. She said that Justin also had to take a trip and they couldn't leave Carly alone, so the only option was that she come with us. I told Mom that I had told everyone, Justin included, beforehand that I would be taking you on the trip. Why was he so careless that he planned the trip on his own without thinking about his daughter? His bad parenting was not my cross to bear, and I would not be dealing with it. Mom got angry, as did Justin, but I don't really care about him, so he can do what he wants. Mom said that I was being cruel and unreasonable, and that we are family and we need to be there for each other in times of need. I told her that this need was engineered to ensure that Carly went on the trip. I said that I may not say much, but that doesn't mean that they can take me for an idiot. I knew very well what was up in their sick little heads and what they were planning to do with the entire thing. But I told her that I was not going to take Carly. Mom said that I had no other option, and now it was the three of us that were going, and that she wouldn't leave her daughter behind. I knew that talking to her then was a pain in the ass, so I went back to my room and cancelled all her bookings. I was the one that had made them, so she had no idea that I had pulled something like this off. If she could act smart and crafty with me, so could I. I wasn't a moron, and neither was I a doormat, that I would take all this sitting down. And I decided not to tell her anything about the cancellation. If I had, she would just have rebooked the tickets. I knew that it was a lot of money down the drain, but I couldn't even look at her face after what she had done. And I knew I would pick up a fight with Carly if she somehow managed to make it on the trip. The next day, all three of us went to the airport, and just while I was about to get in, I told Mom that I had actually cancelled her ticket and she was not going. And if she wasn't going, there was no need for Carly to come either, because the entire issue of her being alone was automatically resolved. I just waltzed inside the airport before they had a chance to register what had happened. I'm sure Carly would have tried to come, ditching Mom behind. And I was scared of that too, but that was a risk I was willing to take. Both Mom and Justin knew that if it was just Carly and me, I wouldn't have taken responsibility for her. My mom kept calling and texting me till I boarded the flight. I didn't receive a single call. Her texts were mostly unhinged, and I had anticipated that, so I was not particularly surprised. I knew that I would have to deal with a lot of shit when I went back, but meh, I didn't care. I still don't. The satisfaction was worth all the loss I incurred, and I'm glad I finally stood up for myself. I had a blast all alone those 3 days, and I realized exactly how miserable I used to be at home. In the meantime, I had had no contact with either Mom or Justin, so I knew that there was a volcano waiting for me back home, and boy, I was not wrong in the slightest. When I came back, my room was trashed. No, not trashed. That was a wrong word. It was stripped naked. It looked as though I had come inside a prison. Everything down to the wallpaper was stripped down. I couldn't believe what they had done. I went to Mom yelling, and she didn't even respond to me. Only Carly bothered to respond. All she could say was, with a smirk, "You deserved it, bitch." I wanted to slap her right then. Mom said that because of my insolence and my attitude, she was going to give my room to Carly, and there was nothing that I could do about it. I asked her where all my stuff was, and she said she had moved it to the attic. The attic is the place no one has ever lived in my house. Like ever. And Carly, the little brat, she was acting all smug and even telling me to stand aside because she had to bring her stuff to the room. I told Mom that what she did was unfair and she couldn't remove me from my own room, but she didn't budge. I went to the attic and brought a couple of my boxes back into my room. I even started unpacking them, but when Carly saw that she started crying, and the ugly kind, like red face, bawling, stomping her feet around like a little child, it was kind of disgusting to watch, if I'm being honest. And of course, that is the time that Mom and Justin intervene because their precious little daughter is throwing a hissy fit. Things got really bad and I ultimately had to concede defeat. So now it has been 2 days and I've been sitting all alone in my attic trying to fit all my stuff into this little mouse house. My previous room was gigantic and airy, and this is a damn prison. And I have nothing to do or say to either Mom or Justin because they believe they're doing the right thing, that I have an attitude and that I need to be taken down a peg. I had known that me not taking them to the trip would cause trouble, but I had never imagined, even in my wildest dreams, that my own mother would stoop so low. But yeah, this is the same woman who cheated on her husband, a husband who worked day in, day out to provide for all the luxuries she basked in. So much so that she cannot even cover rent and utilities on her own dime. She is a snake and has always been one. I really don't know why I thought she could change or that things had a chance of improving between us. It is clear as day that she is a selfish little witch who should never be trusted. And now I'm stuck and I really don't know what to do. All I know is I'm furious. I need to do something to get back at them. They don't get to treat me this way and get away with it. Update 1. I had no idea that this post would blow up so much. I had honestly come to rant and I had never imagined that I would get so much advice from you guys on here. Some of you were brutal, and to be frank, I want to thank you for it. If you hadn't told me, or rather shook me awake to what the hell was actually happening to me here, I would never have found the guts to do what I should have done months, if not years ago. I realized that I had conditioned myself into being a victim, even though I had all the power to make the change that I really needed. I was choosing to sit here and suffer, only because it had become my comfort zone, and honestly, leaving the comfort zone is not easy. I can't speak for everyone, but I know that it wasn't easy for me. It took every ounce of courage that I had to do what I have done. And now that I have done it, I feel so liberated. It's as though a massive weight has been lifted off my shoulders, and that I have the freedom to do whatever I want to. Once I started getting replies on the post, I realized that I wasn't so powerless after all. I didn't have to sit around and take their treatment of me and their punishments seriously. I am an adult. I can do whatever I want. So that is what I did. In my attic, I started looking for places to rent. I found one not too far off, and it wasn't as expensive either. It was only $75 over what I was already paying as rent, and to be frank, I could afford it. Moreover, when I did the math, I realized I would actually be spending less on utilities. You see, here it's Mom and me pitching in for the food and groceries of 4 people. There, it would only be for 1 person, so yeah, all in all, it was a great deal. I went and checked the place out. It seemed nice. They told me that they could give me possession only after 2 weeks, so I had to wait that time out. All that time, I quietly packed my boxes again and then sneakily sent them off to a friend's place, little by little. I only had the essentials remaining till the last day, and I took the day off from work. I called my friend, Stacy, and she helped me set up the apartment. Mom and Justin were at work and Carly was at school, so they didn't realize that I was not at work and they didn't realize that I had moved out. Then came the interesting part of this entire situation. At night, I went back there around 7, and that's the time I usually get free from work, so I knew that they weren't suspicious. I went in and just dropped my keys on the table and said that I wouldn't be needing them anymore. Justin looked up from his phone, but barely. Carly didn't even bother, and my mom just rolled her eyes and asked me what all this was about. I told them that I had moved out and that I wouldn't be needing the keys from now on. I swear to God, for a few seconds, I kid you not, I could hear their hearts beating. Mom slowly said, "What do you mean?" And I smugly replied, "Exactly what you heard." And then came the chaos. She got up and said that I couldn't do this to them and that who was going to pay rent and blah, blah, blah. I told her that she should have thought about it when she vandalized my room with her precious little daughter. I told her that I would be taking my car as well, so she had 14 hours to figure out a way to commute to work. She called me all sorts of names, and it was hurtful. But I had expected this reaction from her, so I wasn't really fazed. Justin chimed in too, saying that I was a brat and I was holding my money and power over their heads, and I said, yeah, damn right I was. And I should have done it much sooner, so they wouldn't have been able to milk me dry. He tried to manipulate me into rethinking my decision, saying that family always stands by each other and that it's my duty to help them out. I said that the minute she decided to teach me a lesson and put her dirty hands on my room, she had stopped being my family. Justin again said that families fight with each other and oh, this is no big deal. Families have worse fights, but they manage to get over them. But I told him to can it because I wasn't in the mood to get over them. I was done being their little slave and cash cow, and now they could fend for themselves or starve. I really didn't care. Mom said that they would starve. I pumped in a lot of money in the house. But I told her that she deserved it. She deserved having a horrible life because she could never find it in her to be nice to the people who actually love her and do things for her. She took Dad for granted and threw her weight around, and she did the same thing with me. And both the times the person got fed up and left, leaving her all alone with no one to rely on. I said she had Justin and Carly to rely on so she could cry to them when things went south. I was no longer available for her. I think that by that time, Justin had somehow either told Carly to apologize to me or she had thought of this herself. So in the last-ditch, pathetic effort, Carly came to me, teary-eyed, and apologized profusely. I told her that her fake tears didn't really interest me and she was a mean girl and she could keep the room. That was the last special thing that she was going to get in a long while anyway. When the realization hit her, she realized that she had screwed up big time, but I was done. They tried stopping me, but I came back to my house. And I just cannot describe the peace that I feel at this point. Update 2. Living alone is so cool. I can do whatever the hell I want. No curfew, no policing on what I wear, no controls. It's amazing. I don't know why I denied myself this pleasure and freedom for so many years. And I have to spend more or less the same amount as I did when I was living in that hellhole. I have become so comfortable here. I don't even remember how I used to live back at home. I still have nightmares of being back with Mom at night, and then the next morning when I realize that it's just me, I feel like I have conquered the world. It does get a little quiet at times, and although most of the time I like the quiet, sometimes I miss the chatter back home. I am used to consistent noise, so that's a change that's throwing me off a bit. Mom has been trying to call me and has sent dozens of texts asking me to come back. I haven't responded to any of them. Dad, on his part, is proud of me for standing up for myself and feels vindicated in a strange way. I have actually gotten closer to him because now I can talk to him at home without fear of being overheard. I used to live in a very controlling environment, and it is only now that I realize how bad things were. Now that I am not receiving her calls, Mom is trying to tail my car after work in order to find out where I live. I have spotted her twice and managed to throw her off my scent both times, but I don't know how far it's going to go. I don't want her finding out where I live because I know the kind of drama she's going to create if she does. She will sit in front of my house and never leave no matter what I do. And now the entire ordeal is stressing me out a bit. I don't want to compromise my safe space, and I know for a fact that her antics are going to get worse. She is in a tough spot financially. She admitted this herself in one of her texts to me. And she said that she really needs me back home to be able to afford food. If I don't return, she would have to move houses. Tough luck, move houses. But I wasn't going to go running to her aid. She had brought this upon herself by treating me poorly, and now she could pay the consequences of her actions. I was done with her. Update 3. I caught her tailing me again a couple of days ago, and that time she was persistent as hell. I managed to escape her, but with a lot of difficulty, and I knew this was going to be a huge problem. So I sent her a text saying that I had photos of my trashed room, and if I ever saw her trying to tail me again, I would go to the police. You see, everything that I had installed in that room had been from my money. What she had done was damage to property, and she would get punished for it. I also told her that I would wait for Carly to turn 18, she does in 4 days, and then go to the police, so that the entire incident gets on her record. I told her that me leaving was me doing things gracefully and the right way, because if I had wanted, I could have escalated things to a horrid extent and nobody would have been able to stop me. She sent me a couple of texts cussing me out, but that was it. I haven't heard from her since. And I also haven't seen her outside my work, so I think the threats worked. I hadn't really planned on going through with them, but now I think that if she ever tries anything of that sort, it would be best to go to the police. After all, she had damaged my property and caused me considerable loss, so why not pay for it? Maybe I have turned extra mean and cruel, but I have so much rage about her treatment of me inside me that I can't help but feel vindictive. I hope all this angst and anger dissolves with time, because God alone knows for how long I have buried it inside me. Yeah, that's all the drama for now. Thank you to all the people who commented and made me see just how horrible my life was and how I had the power to change it. I wouldn't have been able to do it without this stupid Orange app. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.